So you want to build your business from scratch, replace your full-time income, and walk away from your job, say sayonara to the boss, and take off to go run your own business, do your own thing, and live your own life, right? Well, the cool thing about being me is that I get to talk to a ton of business owners every month, every week. It seems like every day sometimes. I'm talking to business owners who want to do the exact same thing because that's my story. I started the business in May of one year. By the end of August, I was done. I had made more money part-time than I had full-time, and I walked away to say, I'm out. See you guys later. But one thing I've learned again and again as I talk to all these business owners who want to have that autonomy, who want the ability to work from home, to do whatever the heck they want with their lives, is that there are some very distinct pieces lacking and missing that I think are causing massive problems. And one of the first pieces is that these guys are, more times than not, they're interested in doing this, but they're not committed. They're interested in walking away from their full-time job, but they're not committed to making it happen. They think, that would be cool. It'd be fun, right? Oh, let me hear Steph's story. And wow, that's so amazing. Steph's doing this cool stuff and I could do the same thing. And they get inspired and, motivated, and they get interested in doing the same thing. And I talk to person after person who has a part-time business that is, floundering, struggling. Maybe it's making $500 a month. And they're like, I know there's the potential here, Steph. I'm like, yeah, there's the potential here, but you are the common denominator in why it's not working. So let me lay out real quick 3 key steps that you've got to start prioritizing and you've got to start following if you truly want to transform your life and you truly think about this for a second. If you're going to take and build a business and replace your full-time income, you are going to completely transform your life. And that's not going to take a little bit of energy. That's going to take a lot of energy. That is going to take a lot of work. So the first question, this isn't even one of my 3 things, but the first question is, are you interested in replacing your full-time income or are you committed? Are you, end of the day, 100%, no questions asked, making this thing happen for yourself? Or is this something that you're going to be interested in until it costs you money or until it gets, time intensive or until, you want to go out and hang out with your friends at the bar on Friday instead? Whatever it is that you are going to allow yourself to get distracted from, that needs to go away right now. Either you're going for that goal, going for it all out, no questions asked, or you know what? Just quit watching the video right now because seriously, the rest of this is a waste of your time. So for those of you guys who are still around, thank you for sticking through that, by the way. The first step that you got to get crystal clarity on is your goals. And I say this, and I know some of you guys kind of rolled your eyes there because if you're anything like me, the first time I went to a coach and I was asking for help and I was saying, hey, I need to, because what happened was in May of that year, I did like $50 in sales. I sold like 2 books. That was it. Like I did nothing. So in June of that year, I went to a coach. I hired a coach to help me out with growing the business because I said, I can't, obviously this is not working on my own and I want to be out by October. I have to get help at this point. And our entire first session, all this guy did was sit down and walk through my goals. He was like, well, and why do you want to accomplish that? Well, and what is it that you want to do? And if you accomplish this, and we just spent an hour talking about goals. And at the end of the session, I was like, dude, I was really hoping for some strategy. I'm going to be real with you. Like I'm a straight shooter. I wanted some strategy on how to grow my business. I have my goals. And he said, Stephanie, let me be clear with you on something. The how is not hard. Someone out there has done this before. Or something similar enough that figuring out how to accomplish the goals is not going to be hard for you. What is hard for most people is getting clear on what they want to accomplish because they have some vague, nebulous idea in their head, or they have picked up dreams and goals from friends and family members that they have then taken on as their own, and they've gone, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I want with my life. So they've taken on this dream that isn't even theirs. They haven't taken time to get clear, not only on what the goals are, short-term, mid-term, long-term, but they haven't taken time to get clear on why those goals matter to them. They haven't taken time to get clear. I mean, you sit here and someone's like, well, I want to be rich. I'm like, okay, well, go move to Africa. Suddenly you're rich. Like, that's how that works. So, well, I guess it depends on what part of Africa you go to. Let's be real. And how much cash you have in the bank. But the reality is, if you're not crystal clear on your goals, it is very hard to plan for how to get there. See, a lot of times, if you were to, decide you want to go from New York to Africa, and you just hop in a rowboat and start rowing, you might make it out of New York Harbor. You might make it a mile or two off the coast, but you're probably not going to make it too much further than that. I mean, in all reality, what's the likelihood you and your little rowboat are going to make it all the way across the ocean to Africa? Not really. So you have to know where you're going, right? And going to the southernmost tip of Africa, a different journey than going to, the northernmost tip of Africa, or maybe going to Egypt in Africa. I mean, there's massive differences in the path you're going to have to chart to get where you want to go. So you need to get clear on your goals. So that's number one. Number two, you have to make sure you have a solid business model. Now, this is an area I see a lot of people falling down on. I mean, hardcore falling down on. They sit there and they come up with a business model that kind of works, but maybe they've put together a package that nobody wants to buy, which I see a lot of. So when you put together your package, make sure you go out and you test it out in the marketplace before you do this big old launch with it. And here's the key. If no one will buy it while you're out there testing it, they're not going to buy it once you go full time with it either. I mean, when your friends and your family are like, oh, that's an awesome idea, you should do that, your first response should be, great, so can I get a card to run? And you'll get the first copy. Right? When people put their money on the line, that is when they're being truly honest with you. Otherwise, they're just being nice. So you need a good business model. You need a product to sell. You need a price point that works. You need a product that the marketplace wants. You need a price point that the marketplace will pay that will also make sure you have enough money to run the business. Great book to check out for this one, by the way, is Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. It'll give you some really good ideas on how to price things, how to run the pricing structure in your business from the get-go to make sure that you are able to build the business that you want. And then the last step is that you have to start taking massive action. And this is where people fall down all the time. They start taking action, but only until it gets uncomfortable. They start taking action, but then they don't get results and they say, well, you know what? I'll just try a different business. They start a network marketing company and they call their friends and none of their friends want to sign up and they go, well, clearly this thing isn't the right option. And they give up on that one. And they develop a habit of quitting. They develop a habit of giving up. And if that is you right now, maybe you have a history of quitting behind you, because trust me, when I started my business, I sure as heck did. Like, there was literally a blanket that I had been working on crocheting part-time as a little hobby thing. And I realized I had never even finished a single major project that I had started crocheting. Not once in my life had I ever even finished a single one of those crochet projects. I had a massive habit of quitting. I mean, and that's a small thing. I had MLMs I'd started and I wasn't able to get going. I had so much stuff that I tried to get going that I wasn't able to get going. And so I want to encourage you to really, truly take a couple of minutes here and make sure that before you're giving up on this next thing, that you have put the amount of massive action in that you need to put in. Because trust me when I tell you, it is not going to be easy. It is not going to be easy to build your business. It sounds really smooth. My little speaker bio says, build her business from scratch to replace her full-time income in less than 5 months. And that one little sentence, it's so tight and pretty and it sounds so simple. But the reality is I was working 90, 100 hours a week, every week for 3 months trying to build that business from scratch. This was not something that happened by chance. This wasn't something that happened because I got lucky. I worked my freaking butt off. I used all of my vacation days so that I could have time to go work on building this business. And I put massive amounts of effort in. Massive amounts of effort, because I have talked about this everywhere I go. And I want to reiterate this to you now. Effort stands for earned freedom for overcoming real tempests. If you write that out, it's effort, right? Earned freedom for overcoming real tempests. And tempest is just a fancy, fun word for storms, because I needed a T and not an S, right? Effort, not effers. But okay, so the reality is, though, I'm a huge believer that you have to put the amount of effort in. And so many times, this is where I see people fall down. Maybe they've got some clarity on their goals. Maybe it's not quite clear enough. And so they're not inspired by it and motivated by it enough to push through the pain to put the amount of effort in they need. And maybe that's you. Maybe you're like, I've got goals, Steph, but you're not inspired enough by them to push through the pain and the discomfort of having to hold yourself accountable. Maybe that's you. Maybe that's where you're at right now. And if that's the case, then that's fine. But you have to start to get clear on your goals if you truly are committed to making a difference in your life at this point. Because you have to start taking effort at a massive level. You have to start taking effort. You have to start making a difference in your life and putting in the action. And yes, this means you're not going to be able to go out to the bar with your friends on a Friday night. And it means that your Saturdays might be spent working instead of hanging out or chilling. And your Sundays might be spent working instead of laying in bed until noon. And your evenings are going to be crazy. And maybe your mornings, maybe you start waking up at 4 or 5 so that you can get an hour of work in before you have to go to work. But if that is what you truly are committed to be doing, then make sure that that is what you are doing with your life. Make sure that that is where your energy is going instead of allowing your energy to disperse and pull you in all different directions. If you are at the point where you know you need that motivation, you know you need that energy, we have a really awesome freebie course. It's a workbook that you can get. I think there's a couple of videos in there as well that will help you get some clarity in regards to your goals. So go ahead and check out the link below and get involved in that, because that little course, that little step to take action to move you towards your goals, to replace your income, to become the boss of your own life, that, my friends, that is key. That is huge. So take a step today, whether it's signing up for that little freebie or whether it is, I don't care what it is, but go do something. Because if you're serious about this, don't let another day pass your life without you making a difference for tomorrow.